All
Morning
the
there.
way from
All
Cali.
the way from
Wow, wow,
California.
wow. Thank you for
Early in
joining.
the morning. God bless you. Thank you so much. I just welcome everybody to the platform again. Welcome to the Praying Carer channel. And it's a lovely time to be here again today as we continue in the Carers Week. In the Carers Week. So I'm in the UK. So in the this week and this week is has been tagged the Carers Week, where we celebrate and appreciate, do different things, just to raise awareness about about the carers, about what we do, about what's the job is about, what the role is about, what the caring terrain is like, and we just want to spotlight our carers and appreciate them. We have been doing that this week. Maybe if we have some time before the end of this, I might ask any one of us if you want to do a shout out to any carer that you know out there, just to encourage them, just to welcome, just to bless them and just to appreciate what they are doing. Now, as Oakonsult, we are an organization that are operating in two different climes. So while we're here in the UK, we're also registered in Nigeria. And we just thought today we would like to spotlight our carers all over the African continent and to celebrate them. We want to bless their hearts. We want to say to them that we admire, we salute them for their courage, for their resilience, bringing up children where there might not be much of a support, as we know, it to be probably around here in the West, where there are statutory framework around any child or around families and things like that. But we have families all over all over the African continent who do not have this kind of opportunity. And we know that they're there, even though we don't have statistics that are, good enough to work with. We know that they are there. And as an organization, we just thought today we want to salute you, parents, carers, all over the African continent. And we want to bless your heart. We want to say that we see you. We see you, we see you, and we honor you. We say thank you for the great and mighty and wonderful work that you're doing with or without support where you are. Okay. And so that is what we want to do today, while we have invited our guests. We dragged her here from all our busy schedule. We want to say we want to put all our African, all our African parents carers on the map, because the theme for this year is putting carers on the map. So we're dotting all the African map as it is, with all our parents carers wherever you are today. So please shout out to all of you. And we have the honor to bring Mrs. Dotun Akande on the platform today to come and tell us. I mean, I call her Auntie Dotun, and so that's what I'm going to be calling her today at this platform. So we just want to hear from you what it is. We had one interview this week where we were blessed to have Delia with us, who gave us the flavor of what it is like, here in the UK, bringing up children who are now adults. Our first son is now 33 years old, the second one, as well, a young adult. And they, both of them have disabilities, and she has a third child. How did she cope? She's given us that. But some of us, in our own continent might not be able to identify with that, and that is the reason why we have brought you here today and say to come and tell us, how did you fare 26 years ago when there was no awareness? Like, I mean, now we can even talk about the awareness and a couple of things that that we're doing out there. But before now, there was, 26 years ago, what kept you going, number one? And number two, I think about your story, and this woman comes to my mind, Jochebed, Moses's mother in the Bible, in the script, in the scriptures, who decided to just focus on this one child and says because she believes that there's something different about this child. And despite whatever, she pushed against all the barriers and decided to weather whatever the storm was. And, we know the story. What gave you the audacity, Auntie Dotun, to stand up for a child 26 years ago, amidst stereotypes, amidst issues of culture, amidst, please, the floor is yours. We want to hear your personal story. Welcome here to the Praying Carer channel.
Thank you
Please, the floor
very
is
much.
yours. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Okay, I don't think that I did more than you have done, or you are still. I don't think I can see that. I can put my chest to see that. The only thing that I know is that God cannot give me something, and I would, and He would not back me up. That was just what held me down. So going back 26 years ago, my son was born. He was born in the US actually.
Okay.
And then bringing him back to Nigeria and everything, and in the US they would do all their developmental milestones. Everything was fine. Everything went well. It was a birth. The only thing that they saw when I had him was that they were concerned about the head size. So they kept me for one day. They said this boy's head is bigger than when he was brought out in the first time. That shouldn't be, because the first thing they would do then is to look out for hydrocephalus in terms of when the head starts.
Yes.
So they kept me for one day. So 1 day, 2 days, there was no change. So they said maybe there was a mistake. Maybe they measured from the base to the top instead of from the forehead section. So, and then we went home. We grew up really well. We were doing very well. This developmental milestones. We walked at the right time. By 12 months, he had up NEPA was his first word, and he had daddy, which was no lights now. So the boy would be up NEPA, up NEPA. So those were his first words, and it's not my first child. I had my daughter came before him. So we were just going. And then I suddenly realized that all the words he had, he lost everything. And when he wants something, come, stare at me, then run from one end of it. He kept pacing, pacing, and he would be sucking his body. So, and he always had a pen. And he wouldn't eat what other children would eat. Go out, buy ice cream. My son was like soft drink. He didn't touch anything that had sugar. I was very worried. How can a child not like soft drink? That cannot do without Coke, So it was that journey. And then I shared with my sister, and I said to her, I think. She said, no, you don't call something bad about your son. I cannot see that. You must always say something is right. I said, okay, I didn't see anything. I went back home. I took him to the hospital and I complained that, my son was talking before. Don't worry, madam. He's a boy. Boys talk late and don't worry yourself about it. I said,
this is hospital in Nigeria.
Yes, hospital in Nigeria. We came back. We came back when it was about 6 months or about then. So we've been in Nigeria all this time, all Nigeria. So I took him, and the pediatrician said, Mrs. Akande, don't worry, boys talk late. And then boy was getting to 2 years old. Who was not? I said it's not natural. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. So I took him back to the hospital, and then I saw a lady doctor, Dr. Biodun Akande. She looked at my son. I gave her the history. When I was talking to her, she had this look of, I know what you are going through face, So I could tell that she was under, because at that point, I actually thought that something was wrong with me. Am I doing what? So she said to me, when I finished, telling her about my son and how she struggles with everything. My son will struggle with label on his cloth. He will bring the label to you. He couldn't speak, so he will bring it. We will cut it off. We had problems barbing his hair when with the the clipper touches his head.
Because
Huge, we usually have a huge behavioral issue. He will talk, shout, he will scream, and I was giving him cough syrup for him to be able
oh
to
dear,
for me
more
to
sugar.
get him to grab his hair. And it wasn't that he would sleep like that. He would just, be a bit drowsy, but he would not have behavioral issues. So when I was describing all this to Dr. Ali, she smiled and said, your son has autism. Why did she say that? Because she has had an experience of a child with autism. Her own child was living with autism, so she recognized it immediately. So she said to me, there is nothing available in Nigeria. You want your child to survive, you need to take him out of the country. Go and find help for him. I said, my husband loves Nigeria. He has no plans of leaving this country. I tell him that Nigeria, leaving Nigeria, we won't even answer me. Not only will he not answer me, he will not allow me to. My husband likes family setting.
Yes.
Likes full-centered family, everybody together. Not one person is and the other person is happy. He likes it. So I said to her that I don't think my husband will allow me to. So she said, okay. And moreover, I said to her, I don't think I can afford to live abroad. I'm not a citizen.
Yes.
I don't think I have resources. We don't have the resources to. She said, okay, if you insist on Nigeria, I will give you a number. Give me a number, Dr. Grace Bamibuye. Then she told me, after school, when the children are done in school,
yes,
sit with your son for 30 minutes and teach him everything that has been taught him
that day.
So that's how we started the journey. And that journey was 5 solid years. And that's 5 years of each two. Auntie Grace was with us for 5 years. The first 2 years, didn't see any change. The change came at about the 3rd year when Abolade was about 5. That's when the word started to come back. I'm saying this because many Nigerian parents don't have the patience.
Yes, ma'am.
Waiting out therapy. I waited even if I didn't want to wait, there was no
options.
That time. There were no options.
Yeah.
So when it got to 5, I remember very well. At 5, I was pregnant again with my baby son. So I went again to have my son, and then I came back. When I came back, Mind Builders School, Omole, was the school we took them to. And Mind Builders was intentional for 2 reasons. 1, it was a new school. 2, one of my husband's cousins that supplies books to school said to us that this is a new school. They buy the most books for their children. That was why we chose it. A small school, a new school, and a school that we knew had the heart of the children.
Yes.
Had the interest of the children at heart. So that was our reason for choosing it. So when I came back, every end of term, Mind Builders will have a concert. I came back and I immediately went into the classroom for a concert. And I saw my son stage performing Open the Eyes of My Heart. I can demonstrate that choreography to you from beginning to end.
Up to today.
Or till tomorrow. Because it was my eureka moment. And even then, he struggled with a lot of sensory issues. Struggled with eating certain food. He would only eat beans and jollof rice. He wouldn't touch bread. He wouldn't touch, there were so many things that we were dealing with at that time. But when I saw that choreography, when I saw my son perform, I said to God, I said, look, this boy does not even have relief. I'm content playing the piano. So I went into overdrive. I got a piano teacher into the house. I got him registered in Mrs in Lagos Island. I took their curriculum, started Muzon exams. I said, if all my son was going to play the piano, I would be happy with that. And that was how we started. Then we realized that he struggled with anything that had comprehension, composition, English, language. He struggled. He excelled in things that does not change. He excelled in mathematics, ICT, anything that had to do with computers, anything that had to do with science that doesn't change, anything that was constant, he excelled.
Yes.
So we quickly noticed that, and we started to steer him in that direction. So we went to the school and told them, please remove him from Yoruba class, remove him from French. Please, we don't want him, because we were advised that we stick to one language. And to our utter shock, our son come home 90% in French, 60% in Yoruba, that he was not speaking. So we went to the school and said, why? We told you people not to put him in. Say, we can't remove him from the classroom. He sits in the classroom. We don't teach him. We don't call him when we are doing it.
Just leave him there.
We just leave him there. And when it was exam time, we gave him the exam, see if he will pass, and this is the result. And to that, at that point, I knew that I was a child, and I wasn't going to go back. So one day, in between my time doing this, I was working in the bank. I didn't even have time. I would go to the office. By the time I come back, my son had finished school and all, and we dealt with a lot of issues. We dealt with bullying. We dealt with teachers not understanding him. There was a day that I came back from work, and my baby son told me, "Mommy, look at Olade's back," and I saw strokes of cane.
Jesus.
Caned by the teacher because he
Jesus.
You know, so at that point, I knew that awareness needed to do something. But I didn't know what to do. So one day I was just in my bathroom, and God said to me, go and open a center.
Whoa.
And I was like, open a center? At this point, the boy had moved a little bit and was moving out of primary school into secondary school. And I approached the speech and language therapist. I told her, Auntie Grace, please, I think before then, I asked her, I said, Auntie Grace, is my son the only one? I said only one. Okay. There are many. I said, please, can you share some of their numbers? Can you ask them if I can speak to them? So that maybe we can share ideas, rub minds. Experiences. And she came back to me and said, oh, yes, one of them said they wanted to talk to you. We can share their number. And when they shared with me, I called, I said, Ma, how are you? My name is Adedotun Akande. My son has autism, and I understand that your son too has autism. Said, autism? My son doesn't have autism. There's nothing wrong with my son. He's just delayed. So I said to myself, there's nothing wrong with him. It's just delayed, and we're working on it. So don't, okay, thank you. And
wow. So much for encouragement.
So I said, Lord, this awareness program, God, help me. And that was how we started the journey. I went to Auntie Grace. I said, Auntie Grace, I want to open a center. What do you think? She said, it's needed. She gave me a certificate as one of the people, one of the instruments needed for us to be able to
Yes.
I went to Dr. Aluko. She said it's needed. I went to my husband. My husband said, what did you study that you want to open this? What do you know about this autism? Just this your son, it's not going to work. If you know you want to do it, you have to travel out. Go and learn how to manage children with autism. That's the only way I will help you. Make sure that this. So 2005.
Wow.
So most of the months in 2005, I was out. I was going to National Autistic Society UK.
Wow.
They sent me to some schools where I did volunteering to see how the school is run.
It's done.
I started running courses on how to manage children with autism. I did special needs training I did
Wow.
picture exchange communication training.
Wow.
I did, what do you call it, mental health and how to handle children with mental health issues. Then I went to the US. Then I met this wonderful lady, Ann Holmes. I will never forget her. She opened her institute. The place is called Eden Institute in New Jersey. She opened that place to me, allowed me to come in anytime to do my research, to do my volunteering. So that was how I gathered enough knowledge. My husband wrote the proposal and we took it to 3 places. And Tayo Aderoyokun of blessed memory looked at it. You know, when God wants you to do something, it's not only He will lead you, make provision.
Hallelujah.
When we did our proposal, 2004, 2005, we only wanted 50 million to set up this. At that time.
15 million, as at that time.
15 million. Tayo Aderoyokun looked at that proposal, raised it from 15 million to 45 million and gave us 30.
Whoa. Whoa.
We set up part, so we didn't have money issues to set up part. God was there because there's a mission.
Yes.
So going into that story where God is and taking every step of the way. When I came back and I opened up the center, to feel Patrick Speech and Language Center, it took us almost 7 years. So when the awareness started, I was introduced to then City People magazine.
Yes.
And the owner, Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy, he opened up and gave us a free slot. Every week I was writing about autism. When I write, come and see people calling us. We had over 150 families calling us from all over Nigeria, waiting for us to open up. But when we opened the center, we had only 3 children. 1.5 years.
Whoa.
They knew that they had the children. They knew that the children needed help. But the stigma was very high. There was a particular lady that called me and said, Madam, thank you for this write-up. You know I have a child. But even my next door neighbor does not know that this child is low. That was how high the stigma was at that time. And somebody came up to me and said, Mrs. Akande, don't you think you're exposing yourself? I said, one does not go without the other. If I know that I need to speak this language, I'm willing to put myself on the line. And when God is working, there is no line. God has your back.
That's right.
As I opened up the center, things changed dramatically for my son. Everything changed. That boy moved from an average student in an A student. Excellent. Abolade struggles primary through secondary, bullying, name calling, everything that you needed to see at that point in time. If you say that the children were not nice, the teachers were worse. So we needed to teach the teachers what autism is, how to manage children with autism, what to look out for. I took on that courage. And I said, it's something I'm going to do. And God backed me up. You can't, God doesn't owe.
No, ma.
God does not owe.
No, ma. You keep saying that to me.
He backed me up. Is it with the people that are working with me? They stayed. My staff stayed. I have staff that there was even one that came in recently and said to me, Madam, I know what you did for me. I know what you did for me. I know how you stood for me. Anything you want me to do for you today, I'm ready to. You know, God loves me. So going back to how it went. Now, we now got to a stage where the people that were supporting us, GT Bank. 6 months down the line, did the center. In 2006 of September, we opened our door. I think it was around October or so, or November, we did a grand opening center. Now, the man that was in charge of that grand opening,
yes,
had a baby a year later. And then over about a year, when that boy now became born, he just suddenly called me and said, all the signs that you were talking about, I think my son is possible. He immediately recognized it. That is the case of early intervention.
Wow.
As soon as he recognized it, I told him, bring him, let's work with him. That boy is in Canada today. Doing what he knows how to do best. How did that happen? Because he was part of
the seed.
The seed. He recognized it quickly. He attacked it early. He admitted. That's one thing I wrote. Must admit to the challenge. That's one thing parents must always do. Admit something is wrong. This man will tell you.
Yeah.
Admit that something is wrong. Once you are in that place of acceptance and admission that something is wrong, it is easy for you to find solution.
Exactly. Because I have it as in my second segment in terms of, what kept you going, you've told us. What gave you the audacity, you've told us. The second segment, is on the parents, because I see that is so crucial. That is so crucial. And that's where you started. What sort of mindset do we need? What sort of mindset? I know at that time, it was far. We've gone a bit now. I know we're not where we're supposed to be, compared to the West and all that, but at least a little bit, we are where we are. How can we move on from there? What do parents need to do? What kind of mindset, what kind of perception, what kind of attitude do we need to get together so that we can be there, strong, resilient for our children? Like so many things you've said now, as you've been speaking, I'm seeing courage, I'm seeing resilience, I'm seeing pushback, I'm seeing standing, I'm seeing you pursuing research, all those things. Now, we've moved a bit, so you have sowed the seed, you channeled the path for some of us. So what do parents need to do now where we are all over the African continent, using my Nigeria as an example? What do parents, where do they need to start from? I think that's where you're about to start talking about now, in terms of
parents need to admit and accept. I accepted my son and I was okay with him being a pianist. I said to him when he was young and he couldn't speak, I said, Abolade, your hands are working, your legs are working, there's nothing wrong. You are going to play for the church. Church is always looking for organists. You play, when they hear how you play, I was content. My son just
contentment.
So God said, there is more to what I have. And that's exactly what happened. So the first thing is admit, accept. Immediately, Dr. Aluko told me, I said, God, thank you. At least I know I'm not going mad. So she can see what I see. So meaning that, okay, now, what is the next?
Where do we start?
Where do we start from? I'm not going to look at what my neighbor is saying. I'm not going to listen to it. It's just going to fly by my ears. If you listen to what the world is saying, in fact, this testimony that I put online recently about my father, some people are saying that the boy didn't have autism, Joe. Didn't know what she was saying. She's saying, but it's okay. You see, that's what I know where I'm coming from. If you listen to what I was listening to all this thing I wrote down today, I learned it from J. John. When I listen to him a lot when he talks life and how it is. J. John said to me that I would rather stand with God and be mocked by the world than stand with the world and be judged by God.
Yes, ma'am.
So the stick, we have to rise above stick.
Exactly.
Let me tell parents something. God gives us seeds. And when he gives you that seed, go and plant it. Don't discard it. Don't put it under your bed. When God gives you a lamp, when you get a lamp and you light it up, it's in the Bible. You don't put it under the bed. He said you remove it. You remove it and put it on a lampstand.
Lampstand, Benny.
And the world marvel because they will give glory to God. father.
Benny.
You know, so admit something is wrong. Look for help. We are not all on the same strength. We don't have the same. We are not all strong. Find strong someone you can rely on that can hold your hand. Don't be afraid. The minute fear creeps in, go and look at the mirror and tell yourself, call out your name. Not be afraid. Not fear. God told Joshua how many times?
Benny, do not be afraid.
Not be afraid. Not be afraid. Not be afraid. Not be afraid. Go there and tell yourself, and tell God, the maker, the one that gave you that daughter, and say, God, this is where I'm going. It's not as easy as we are saying it. But us. So admission is the first way. Then you commit. If you cannot commit time, commit money. I remember Auntie Noya is on this call.
Yes.
She will tell you when you bring your child with sick to her. Auntie Noya will tell you, Madam, this place is free, but I have staff that I need to work. Madam, can you come and be one of? We will pay you as a mother of. They will say, oh, I have something somewhere. I cannot make it. They want somewhere to come and drop the child. Commit. If you cannot commit money, commit time. If you cannot commit time, commit resources. If you cannot commit resources, commit connections. Find ways in which you must commit. The Bible says, put your hand in the plow and don't do what?
Don't look back.
It is your commitment. Look, we don't see the road until help. We don't see how far.
Yes.
Still same from J.J. John that I learned. If you don't take that step, you will not know how far you are going to go.
And go.
That commitment is important. You need to commit. And you need to be intentional about it. And you need to wait it out. Find a way to wait it out. Then you submit to God Almighty, the Sovereign Lord. Submit to the authority. Submit. If you are taking your child to city center or you are bringing your child to Patrick, submit. Don't say, oh, I'm bringing him this way and I'm not ahead. Why is he there? We have people like that at Patrick's. We have parents like that when they bring their children. They say, oh, mosquito bit him on this side. What happened? Who pinched him? Oh, this person, the boy his eye was blue yesterday. What happened? They will not allow therapists
to work.
So the therapist will be on eggshell around that child. So they say, hey, don't go near him, don't go near him. Mother will talk, let us leave him, let us help him.
And the child will be losing out.
Believe in where you are. I'm not saying there are no wrong therapists. Even at Passcode, there are wrong therapists that
look out. You have all your cameras everywhere when I came to see.
Please, can you mute yourself? Mr. Adedotun. So it's not that all the therapists are angels, but you need to submit to where you are going. Give them free hand to be able to do the work that they've done. And then spread the good news when your child has done well. When my son graduated, it took me almost 3 weeks to be able to post.
To post it.
People were asking me, Mrs. Akande, pictures. I said, no, it's not the kind of pictures you're posting that you just send a picture. You need to sit down.
And
you need to think. You need to look back where you are coming from.
Follow Rainbow. Straight if you're around.
Sorry, could you please mute yourself?
Who's this?
You know? So you need to look back. I look back. Another thing that came up from this story, this journey of Patrick's speech.
Seven.
That
Yes.
everybody sees GT Bank Autism Conference today. It came to being because Patrick's not stopped up. Because people stopped. When GTB realized that autism is not as scarce as they thought it would. I remember when I started Patrick, and my father came into the center to see it, and he saw the center, and he saw the classroom, tables, chairs, 5 classrooms.
No, where are the children?
Yeah, where are the children? We don't have as many children as what we are talking about. And my mom is a nurse, so she was our nurse then. She would come in. When she gets back home, my father will ask her, how many children did you see there today? God. How many did you see today? Well, today we don't even have capacity. Unless we that's one of the reasons why we So, and it did not happen overnight. It took us 10 years to fill that center or more.
Wow. But you kept at it.
Because people did not believe that in Nigeria, people were saying that they will soon close down. Is it not in Nigeria? What do Nigerians know about autism? And we proved everybody wrong. When GTB saw that the numbers were, he said that we'll start a conference. Started the conference. First year, second year, third year, these numbers rising. Fourth year,
Wow.
Just because a mother don't keep quiet.
Keep up.
So parents need to, what we have today, what we are seeing today, many centers, in fact, autism has become very sexy. A lot of people will now rather have, my child has autism. He has autism. It has now become it's now more
trendy,
acceptable than any other the difficulty or disability. So it is a must that when our children do well. Another thing is, immediately the child does well, parents get out of the scene. They don't want to be associated with it. Transmit it. Let other parents know that your children are. I know the children that have left Patrick that are doing fantastically well, that their parents are not saying anything. Thank God for families that don't stop to talk about it, about their journey, or how well their children are doing. We see today, and then there is no manual. Children with special needs, there's no manual. Nobody has the answer. Let nobody come and tell us that very special needs. There's no manual. Each child has a unique, and that blueprint is God Almighty. So if you meet a child, it's our policy in Patrick's. You meet a child and you don't allow that child to lead, you have missed it. You need to focus on what needs that child has. Nobody has the answer. Language pathology, they have ideas. If your BCBAs, they have ideas. They don't have the answer. It's the
speech and language.
Occupational therapists, they don't have the answer. The answer is they have the specialty.
Can only help.
My daughter is a medical doctor.
Right.
When she sees families, and she's a GP, she's a general practitioner, when she sees families, and especially when they have children with special needs, and she starts to speak to them with empathy, they look at her and say, how come you are so empathetic? She tell them that, my mom runs a center and I have a problem.
Oh, wow.
So you are even developing compassionate siblings.
Yes, ma'am. I want to ask about that as well, because I think here it looks like your daughter is the older one.
Yes.
Okay. So, and it's the two of them. It's only the two of them. right? Or you have another children?
I have another child. There are
So
three.
how you have okay, so you have three. So how did you manage that the dynamics of going back and forth and the attention that needs to go on him as well as the other two? How did you manage? Because we see that as well. Because of the child or the young person that needs more care, sibling rivalries, and different relationship difficulties just arises like that. How should parents navigate that?
For me, every child that God has given me, I dedicate time. At the beginning, maybe it was difficult because if you ask my daughter, she will say, no, mommy, everything is Agbolade, Agbolade, Agbolade. But over time, I began to realize that there's something I would like to see. When I was growing up, I schooled in Calabar.
Right.
My other siblings close to me. And during visiting days, my mother was not visiting me. And I would see other parents coming to bring food for their children, those that lived in Calabar close by. And then I used to feel very bad because I felt that I wasn't visited enough. So when I became a mother, I made a vow that anything concerning any one of my children, I must be present. I must not be found absent. So in their activities, if Ayodotun is doing something today, I'll be present.
Yes.
If Prof is doing something, I'll be present. If Ayoms is doing something, I'll be present. So I'm always present in every one of everyone. I didn't miss any. I made sure that was it.
Even as a banker.
Even as a banker, I will make time.
That's intentional.
I had a fantastic boss then. Mr. Bolaji Balogun. I will never forget it. When I went to have my son, he said to me, make sure get the papers of that boy before stepping into this. If you don't get it, don't come back. And your job is waiting for you. Don't worry. So I had, support all at every stage
around.
Yes, I had support, and I did not take my support for granted. And I made sure that when it was time to do my work, I did my work at the right time. But if it's anything to do with my children, I'll tell my boss, and then you say no problem, can go. So with every one of them, I made sure that I was intentional about attending. I made sure I was present of their need. But my daughter was always in charge of this because we were going to and I was working in back and I used to work.
Yeah.
So she was responsible from day one. I don't. So she was like the mother hen. And to today, she's still the mother hen, mothering each and every one of them. And I'm so thankful and grateful for her that she was not at any point in time resentful.
Yes.
She wasn't resentful. And I'm sure that is because I did not take her own things
lightly as well.
I was intentional about making sure that every one of them had me. They had me, by their side when they needed me. So, and one thing I found, there was a case of one of my friends who had a daughter that was very resentful. And she had the right to be resentful because that my friend would do everything for her son. And be very. She said to me, I can't help it. I just can't help it. So I said you must have a way of finding time to host this very question. And it's the mistake we all make.
Yes.
We must find time for the siblings. They must be able to express it. They must be able to interact with their sibling amongst their friends. Also, yes, very vital, very important. Must be brother. They must be able to be proud of him and the work that he's done. And even if he's non-verbal, you have to find a way to be proud of him. Because another thing is that if that child is growing up in a hostile environment, you might not see good results. Because the environmental factor of nurturing, the difference between nature and nurture makes a huge difference in the outcome of a child with special needs. Nurturing goes a long way, and we must not forget that as well.
And see, you say that if I can ask, that's not part of my questions, but if I can ask a bit on that, on the nurture and the nature and the environment around the child. Now, look at a woman. I mean, the way the way you've explained your journey, there's an element of capacity that you had and you were able to build on, in terms of being able to travel out, being able to do other things and taking some stocks and all that. Now, for some, and especially in our environment, it's a challenge. Being able to be as intentional as you have said will cost something. Either it costs your career, either it costs your heart, your health, either it costs your relationship, or something has to give. That, how do you manage that? Because at the end of the day, with that, at some point comes that longing, comes that emptiness, comes that, times you don't want to have bitterness, but sometimes it comes in and we struggle with it, especially when relationship breaks down, especially when you see your colleagues, you've been together and all that, and all those sentiments come in. What can you say to parents to be able to manage this in following this one or two children with special needs? How can we do that?
Okay, so from what you have said now, we're looking at times when the sorrow comes in, and then we all have it. I remember when I went to God, I said, I'm not going to church. How can I have a child has autism? What did I do? What was it that I did wrong? We all have those times of pitfalls. And then to get the beauty of it is that I not only have it for myself, I have it for the children that come to me. There are times I go into my bathroom and I burst into tears. And I just say, Lord, it does not take you 5 seconds to show us how to work with this child.
No.
Why should this child struggle?
No.
We all have those pitfalls, and we all have those moments when we cry to God. And we have to find a way to strengthen that. That is why it is important that you have somebody or a community holding your hand. You need it. You need a support system. You need it. And please, don't go to the support system that will be carrying you from pillar to post. Don't go to the support system that will be taking you from one church to the other.
Thank you.
Don't go to the support system that will be driving you from one center. Have you been to Patrick Speech? They are the best in the world. It's a lie. We are not the best in the world. We give our best, but we are not the best. Listen to what the Holy Spirit is saying to you. He speaks. One of my staff said to me one day, Madam, I don't know how you do it, but just come one day and you just do one thing or you say one thing, and that is the right thing. I said, because I listen to you and I'm very vigilant. I'm very vigilant. All the children that come to party, I'm very vigilant.
Yes.
They may think because I don't interact as much and it's intentional.
Yes.
I don't see. I see.
You do.
So it's important that when you are in that pit, find that support system, somebody that will hold your hand and pull you out of that pit and tell you, no, let us do this together. I tell parents, my number is out everywhere out there. I'm not a hero. My only strength is in supporting my fellow human being. That's one of the greatest strengths I have. Wonderful. If I don't pick your call, if you message me, I will message you back. If you need help, I will find it. If I can't give it, I will find it. It is the strength that I carry. It is the grace that God has given me, and I don't take it lightly.
Amen.
I do not say no. I find you that help. If I have to go beg, well, I'm always begging. I'm always begging people. Because
I know about that.
I'm always begging. Please, can you help me do this? Please, can you give this person this? Please, can you do this? I'm always, so it's that support system. It's a lonely road. With your support system, it's still a lonely road. For those struggling financially,
I was going to ask.
Don't ever overspend. It costs you your marriage, it costs you your happiness, it costs you joy. I say it when I say it, people ask me, what do you mean by overspend? Don't spend above your means.
But how do they meet the need of these children? Do you know, afford therapy here, afford therapy there? They can't.
Go and learn the skill. Learn the skill. I have a friend in this our estate. She's been struggling with therapists. Therapists will come, therapists will go. Therapists will come. She went to the village and got a girl. She herself went to learn the skill. She taught that girl. I'm not saying that the specialists are not
good. We get it. Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the specialist can help you train. How many hours do we specialists spend with you? 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours? It's the parents. Caregiver. Learn the skill. If you learn the skill, you can teach it to that person. Have a program that you draw child. That's why we do therapy outreach. That's why we go into community. Go and look at the ground. And then what we found in the communities is heart-wrenching. Parents go and drop the child with the grandparents and they go back.
To life. Yes, ma'am.
And it's the grandparents that care for the children. Ill-equipped.
Yes.
To the point that one grandfather said to us, one father, during one of our therapy outreach, he said, ever since I've had this child, the child was about 11 or 12, nobody has asked me how they can help me. You are the first person and has ever taught me that child. Learn the skill. Do what Auntie Noye does. Go there. Create your time. Learn that skill. And pay it forward. What I learned is what I'm paying for. Each time I come back from a training, I will gather a smoke. I will go to Lagos State, pick teachers from their special, write to them, send us your teachers. Let me train them. Let me teach them what I learned so that they can use it for the children.
Wow.
That's how we started our training. That training program was abused because many people would say, oh, I've gone to Patrick's, I've trained, I have certificates, and they start going to schools.
And charging
parents, yes, check the person coming to ask questions about those that you are opening your homes to.
You see that, you know, Auntie, I've not, there are a couple of things, you know, when we started, I said, we as an organization operate in 2 different climes, right? Here, you know, in the UK, you have a system. You know, back in Africa and in Nigeria, we don't have a system. But I intentionally, if you notice, I've not talked particularly about government. Or intentionally, and I don't want us to talk because that is totally something that, you know, is a different kettle of fish. We cannot finish that on this platform. So let's not even go there. And that's why my focus is on the parents. What can the parents do? And you've mentioned a little bit. So what can we do again now as a society, as a community, as families? That, you know, what can you speak to in that regard? Please, I want us to, I would be joyful, and I'm hoping and I'm praying and I'm believing that one day we will see that intentionality coming from our, you know, government, and we'll be able to set things up. until that comes, can we, because we have our children now, we need to take care of them. What can the society do? What can families, nuclear and extended, what can we do to support our parents' carers, our mothers, our fathers, wherever the case, however the case may be? I want you to speak.
Thank you very much, Funke. The first thing that we need to do, like I say all the time, if the parents accept, families accept, community accepts, and we do not stigmatize against these children, we include them. If the community, our churches, our mosques, if they don't attach spirituality to a lot of the things that these children are going through, if they don't attach sin to it,
yes, ma'am,
many people will be willing to come out and expose their children. We were talking about nature and nurture.
Yes.
Nature is the environment. If the child is in a toxic environment, we are talking about a totally different ballgame. If the child is in an environment where the love is absent, acceptance is not appreciated or embraced, if the child is not included in the family life. Look, there was this boy, Azim. I'll never forget that young man, Azim. His mother and father were separated. And Azim, when we have inter-house sports or we have anything, if you see the village that will come for Azim, Azim's auntie will come, Azim's grandmother will come, Azim's neighbor will come, Azim, the mother, no, fantastic. Even though the father was absent, they made up that loving and caring environment for that boy. Every time he's down, he sees everybody, he lights up. Same thing for one young man at a center called Olumide. Olumide now, we were telling them in the last transport when the sister came and was ranting that Olumide's PE uniform, his PE uniform was, I said, Olumide is no longer in transport. They are training him to be a staff. So please quit making noise. There's no Olumide to clap for on the pitch today. She said, eh? I said, yes. So Olumide will come. Sister, when if you see how they will be shouting on the pitch when Olumide is, so with that kind of environment, that child will thrive.
Girl.
Even if the child does not get to his or her full potential.
Yes.
Because that child has that kind of environment, that nurturing. The only thing I would say to that is that there's a thin line. Because in some cases, they pamper the child so much that you can't even get anything out of that child.
Do anything.
Yes. But if that child is nurtured in an environment of inclusion meaning everything that the siblings are doing or the people his age are doing, they are exposing him to it, he will do well. And he will do well starting from very early stage. What we see in Nigeria is, I want my child in mainstream school. I don't want my child in special school. Fine, I agree to it. And I'm in support of it because inclusion goes a long way. But please, when you have tried, and that child is 6-year-old in nursery 1, you need to put that child out of that environment. You have reduced the self-worth of that child. Keep staying in the same class and seeing his mates move from class to class, move up every year. You are doing that child a disservice. There is no amount of social interaction. What they claim is, I want social interaction. There is no amount of social interaction that can get that child to where that child is. And then when that child turns 10, you are now looking for it. Very depressing.
Difficult.
Very difficult. Very painful. To watch that child struggle. So if you know that the child is not going the way of academics, please find life skills. Functional life skills that the child.
Again, that goes to acceptance. It goes to acceptance. Knowing and understanding that my child might not be able to do 3 times 10 through time, but can they separate beans for me? Can they do this? Can they count? Can they relate with other people differently?
Can they do art? Can they swim? Can they play basketball? Can they kick a ball? Can they run? So there's so many things we can introduce them to that can help them into functional life skills. You know, I just finished a talk on trust funds for our children. It's very necessary in Nigeria of today because our children are getting more and more selfish. You are seeing families divided because of will. You are seeing people looking out to their parents' wealth and not trying to develop their own. You know, so the child with special needs will definitely suffer if that comes to play.
In the midst of it.
Yes. So the environment matters, and how we place that child in that environment also.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I see a question here before I go to, you mentioned a little bit about the last thing I would like to ask, but let me say this question. It says, how did you manage your marriage in the middle of the trying times and your careers as well? So if you can, you mentioned it a little bit, but can you talk to us a bit more about that, just quickly?
I would say that I'm blessed because my husband was very supportive from day one. In fact, there was a time that he was praying and I wasn't even praying. I was just going about my normal day. And I didn't find out until much later. I just saw something he wrote down and I was like, wow, this guy is praying and you are just eating jollof rice. So very hands-on. I remember when I tried to teach my son how to brush his teeth, I almost beat the living daylight out of that boy.
Oh, God.
My husband just came aside, one side, and took his son and taught him how to brush his teeth. Patient, more patient than I really am. I'm not the best of parents, I must say. I am a very strict parent. My children, I put them in certain boxes up to tomorrow. When my son is 26 years old, when he sees does dobale money, no matter anywhere in the world is what I taught them. And I told them it's my culture. I love my culture. I'm a Nigerian. I love being a Nigerian. No matter where you are in the world, respect must be your number one watchword.
Yes, ma'am.
So there were so many things I couldn't do on my own. But there are so many parents struggling with their husbands. And in fact, there was a particular case when I started Patrick's. That lady walked into my center and said to me, Madam, please, can you secretly come to my son's school and do therapy with him? And I asked her why.
Why?
She said, because this is not my first child. My first child had Down syndrome and my husband could not. He would not even look at the child. And eventually the child died.
Oh, wow.
And now I have a second one and it looks like he has special needs. I don't think my husband will be able to. There's no way I can tell him. Because as you know, autism is invisible. Does not see it from the face. You can only see it from behavior and interaction.
Yes, ma'am.
There is no way that man will not see it over time. So we must not rule out it is not my side of the family or I don't think my husband and I ever blamed anyone in our family. We just embraced it and we walked along with
which is totally unique and different.
Which is different.
Because
and I must say it is rare.
Yeah, it is.
So I would say that I'm blessed. Like I said to you, God does not make mistake. He knew that if I give Dotun this child, she will set up something that will help other children. He knew when he created me as unique Dotun. He knew it. He knew that I know you. So if you're a parent of a child with special needs, God knows you.
He sees you.
I think Margaret is on this call. Yes, she's another wonderful parent. She built a whole center.
Wow.
See that center for children, for our young adults. Equipped it.
Wow.
Because she has a daughter.
Wow.
I found her online. I just saw the center. I said, wow. This center. I approached her. I said, my name is Dr. Akande. I run Patrick's channel. And that's how we became friends. Yes.
Wow.
I'm always very willing to shout out. Another thing is, just shout out to those doing great job. Nigeria, we are quick to bury people
Hmm.
and the work that they do. We are quick to say, what does she even know? What she even
Hmm. Hmm.
We must acknowledge the work that those that have gone. I did a series on IG Live about those that came before me.
Yes.
Before I came into this.
Yes.
Those that needed to be applauded.
Because
I can say Patrick's is the first center for children and adults with autism. We are not the
autism,
first
yes.
provider. Providers before us.
In Nigeria. Wow.
Yes. They just did not open centers specifically for children with autism.
Yes. Okay. Right.
So we have families that are doing great work that must be acknowledged. We cannot put them aside. History.
No.
I mean,
we won't judge us right.
Yes, judge us right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
so when we see good, let us empower and
celebrate it.
Let me give you an example of what God can do. I was in the school one day. We have 2 generators. One was, in fact, let me tell you the generator story in part, the testimony. Let me tell you about it. One of my parents came into the school one day and the generator packed up while she was there. She just picked up the phone and called her husband. Hello, my dear, the generator in Patrick's is not working. You have to find a way to make sure that they get generator. Wow. The man just, within 1 week, just wrote a proposal to bank where he was working.
Wow.
No. Point of correction, not to the bank. He took money out of his pockets and bought us a 40 kV generator.
Oh, wow.
And then the Patrick's bam. The second generator story, we now have 2 generators. When one is not working, the other one is working. On this day, 2 of them broke down. And I did not ask God for generator. I did not pray. I did not ask. I just said, oh, how much do we have in the account? Let me go and look and sell one of these old generators and buy a brand new generator. A lady walked in. She didn't even hear me. This conversation is between myself and myself. I did not tell anybody. I was just thinking to myself. She said, Sakode, by the way, the generator didn't break down. We had light, so everything was working. I have a generator coming in. It's still on the sea. Coming in another, it's brand new, and I'll give you all the parts that you need to service it.
Wow.
Our God does not.
He's faithful.
My dear parents, put your right foot forward. Just put it forward. God will meet you at where that point.
Amen.
I'm sure there are many of you here. If you think about how much you have spent and you calculate it, you won't believe that it is you that spent it.
Exactly. And not even money alone, until everything.
Time, resources, energy. Margaret is here. I can see her. She calls me energy.
Yes, I can see her.
Energy. That's what she calls me. And so it gives you the resources to make sure that you
meet their need wherever you are. I think
anywhere you are.
Somebody is asking again here now, and I would, if you take this together with my final question. My final question is that we already know that our society is a religious society. There's no need for back and forth and all that. And I don't want us to also go into what are the goods of that, what's the disadvantage. That's not what we are about. It is what it is, right? We believe God, we take our faith matter, carry it upon our head is good. How can we, our religious leaders, how can they support us in this journey? How can they use their platforms to help families so that we can begin to see a bit of shift? Again, this is an area that I'm strong about, and I've been discussing with you as well what I believe God is saying in that area. But please, can you speak into it? And somebody is asking that question here. He says, does radical acceptance negate faith? Did you get that question? Does radical acceptance negate faith? So please, can you answer that question together with, what you think, what you can say to our religious leaders, if we can say anything to them, how we can upon our society, being a religious society, how can that support us?
Thank you. Radical acceptance does not negate faith. Faith without works is what? It's death.
It's dead.
Yeah. So radical acceptance, doing everything. But listen, have quiet moments. Must have quiet moments. When you ask God, download it. He will download it. You might dream it. You might hear it. Somebody can come to you for it, but he will tell you one way or the other. With a mother of a child, if you see how many times Jesus was crying in the Bible, did you see him crying when a rich man fell sick?
Yes.
Was it not for the poor,
yes,
downtrodden, and those with disability?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's the time he had. He said, and Johnny and Friends called it
the Luke 14 mandates.
No. The compassion, deep compassion. There was a word that they used. I cannot pinpoint it now. I just wish that I could find that word. They talked about deep compassion. That's what he had.
Yes.
Deep, very deep. You know, I was listening to somebody today that was talking about how she wanted to die because God did not heal her. But in that minute she said, as she was about to die, to commit suicide,
yes,
somebody knocked on her door. She knew immediately that God sent that person.
That was God.
At that time.
That was God. That was God.
She knows. He said, and it was then that I realized that it is not the healing. There is a process in which it's for a purpose.
That's it.
That's one thing our religious leaders need to tell the congregation. How many times have you heard disability being preached in church? They don't talk about it. It's like a taboo. I wrote to my pastor, Radical. I wrote to them. I've never heard disability on. We get back to you. Maybe that was about 5 years or 7 years.
Oh, wow. And we still haven't gotten back to us.
Still waiting.
I
wrote to Anglican pastor. I wrote to Pentecostal pastor. And nobody could give me the answer. That's why I am very interested in when Funke told me about Johnny and Friends. I jumped on it because I know that I need it.
Yeah.
I also need to understand it.
Yes, ma'am.
You need to understand it. As a parent, you may not understand it, but you need to look for it.
Yes, ma'am.
And understand.
That was how I got in there.
Yeah.
It was the sense of, come, you know what, let's leave all these things we say. It's okay. But at least the only thing that I was left with when I came face to face 14 years ago with Disability Matters was the only thing I was left with was the fact that I know Jesus is Lord. Every other thing was taken, and I was ready to let every other thing go. Where that point of Jesus is Lord, I have seen that one. I have experienced that one. Okay, so I started building from there. So God, what are you saying here? What is going on? And that was how, the journey in these 14 years.
And if you are hungry enough,
yes,
find it.
I agree.
So the church the church will continue to march on and the of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Church is manned by human beings. And many of them don't understand it. And some of them that do understand it don't want to talk about it because it's not going to bring congregation.
No.
It's only going to bring the congregation of those that are downtrodden.
Yes.
If you look at the poorest of the poorest in our nation, most of them have disability. And why is that so? Government
all over the world. No.
Government is not involved. It's terrible in our part of the world. Government is not involved. It's a family affair. Families see you as beggars. I mean, I can tell you for free, some of my family members that I know that are very rich, when I have programs and I run to them for programs, they will not give me. Or tell me that I need to borrow money to buy a car, they will give me.
Will give. Our value system is just different.
It's just different.
Totally.
It's just different. And if the church does not recognize the strength of healing, faith, justice, maybe what they are looking at is if the person doesn't get healed, that means that they think that they don't have power.
You don't. That's the problem, isn't it?
Maybe that's why they are not.
That's one of the problem. Maybe not everything, but that's one of the problem because that's our mentality.
Mentality.
That's our mentality.
Healing is not only physical. There is spiritual healing and there is mental and intellectual healing that we miss. I mean, so if we don't acknowledge some of these individuals, take for example, one of go to church every Sunday, you see somebody in a wheelchair, being the one ushering you to your seats, and telling you where to sit and giving you the flyer, giving you everything. How come we don't have them in the ushering department? How come we don't have them in the choir? Can they sing? Don't we have a whole lot of blind community that have a choir?
We do.
How come?
We do.
So those are questions that we need to ask. Where are they? Where have we kept them? Like Adeloye, we say, fine girl, you're all better. Please carry her. If you only hand, carry her anywhere. Me, I go carry wheelchair.
Carry wheelchair, carry everything. Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Oh, better. Your son fits work. He fits.
Oh dear.
So we are at different stages of need. If all the church can do is hold the hands of these caregivers, parents,
yes, ma'am,
guardians,
yes, ma'am,
grandparents, and give them the support, the encouragement, even if they do not give resources, even if they come and they say, "Oh, Lighthouse, we want to come and visit you today, just to pray along with you to see how you're doing."
Auntie, you're even saying too much about that. See, I think just to even ask, how are you doing?
Like Johnny and Friends was saying that they went that what they expect when they say how are you doing is fine. The minute you start something else like this, they completely switch.
Everybody goes. We just we didn't really. How are you doing? A minute. And be ready to listen.
Yes. If you see how people are treated, when they are treated right, when they talk about it. I remember the video of that young Down syndrome lady in Johnny and Friends when she was talking about her experience. She was crying.
Yeah.
Because looking back at where she was and where she is now, she could tell the difference of acceptance, acknowledgement, encouragement, empowerment, embrace, inclusion, rather than rejection that she was getting on the other.
Indeed. And that's why we thank God, because, one of the strategies that God has given us, on this with Oakonsult, one, of course, is to the parent carers to support and to raise awareness and to talk about things like this. The second one is to take this message back to the faith, to our churches, so wherever. And the strategy is given us is to go, I think I've shared this with you before, to go to our seminaries where where our men of God are being, built, where they are being taught. And, and we give God praise for the past 3 years now. I've invited you to some of the courses before that we've been running for some of our clergies. And, it's heartwarming to see at times that when we start the course, our men of God actually comes from a place of, oh, wow, really? So a case of you don't know what you don't know. I mean, obviously not everybody will take it that way, but we've seen that there's a bit of, oh, wow, really, and then they listen and they're ready to take action. And I'm just hoping that, we'll trust God to continue to open that trajectory, that door, so that we can get this in a little bit more, and see what God can do. Somebody is asking again, if I move quickly now, I think, so we should be rounding up. If you have any question again, please, could you just send it? Somebody says, how can you manage the financial situation to take care of them if one doesn't have the capacity? Which NGO can support the special needs, Because lack of funds to meet their needs usually makes one get depressed. And I totally identify. I don't know what you can say about that.
let me say there's no one NGO that gives the support
Me
that is
too. I
needed
don't know
in
anyone.
Nigeria of today. The only thing is that you reach out. I will say a story of it. There's a video going around online about a woman and her daughter that's she was struggling with the daughter. We asked that woman to come to Patrick's. She came for 1 month, and after 1 month, she said she wasn't coming again. She said where she's coming from is too far. She cannot come and pick the child. And so when people were sending me that video, I was telling them that we have given a hand of help to help educate her on how to manage. Not even educate her. We opened the center for her to come bring her child for free. So there are some people that have resources that come to us to say, can I take up the child, and we do that, right support to that. So if you are struggling, reach out. There's so many ways. Some people can say, oh, we can help you with this, we can help you with that. We will connect you with the right people. So and if we cannot, we will tell you. And if you need further into government, I don't know what government is not doing it.
You are the one that can tell us that. I don't know.
And the only thing they say is that we don't have money.
You don't have.
That's what they say all the time. We don't have money, we don't have resources. And they are not even finished making use of typical children. We see how out of school.
Yes,
how many
that's what we hear.
And then how do we now bring in special needs children? So there is no single NGO. But if you reach out to us, we can give you the right advice on how to go about it. Like I said to somebody, when we're looking at how to manage behavior, when I was growing up, my grandmother knew me. She knew what made me tick. She knew how to manage me. She knew what she would give me that will make me do what she wants me to do.
Yes.
That is called applied behavior analysis in its raw form. And that is what we call the reinforcement schedule. It's been taught since the day of old. They just put it in
nomenclature
nomenclature. Since the day of old. I know my children one after the other. I know what makes each and every one of them tick. I know the kind of reinforcement schedule that I will put in place that will make my child do what I want him to do. That is ABA, applied behavior analysis. Please, specialists.
And we all have it as parents.
Look, if you are an African parent, especially, you will, there's no way they can teach you applied behavior analysis that you will not know that it existed right before your childhood. If your mother looks at you in a certain way, you know what she's saying.
Exactly. Without words.
That is non-verbal communication. So please, let all our arsenals that we have in our boxes, let's bring it out into parenting. That is why nature and nurture. Another thing I want to say specifically is please and please and please again. What we are feeding our children must either grow on a tree or in the ground.
For children with autism.
Any one of our children, whether autism or no autism.
Okay.
Nothing, no preservative. The world has changed. Everybody is looking for money. Please. What you can peel with your hand, even though we are still struggling because there are GMO foods on it. But at least what you can eat, what you can sow in the ground, if it's possible for you, can grow yam in your backyard, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, Auntie, that is a challenge for us around here. How do we balance? We also have our own.
You need to go to Africa.
Organic is like this in terms of cost.
You need to go to Africa.
It's now that I appreciate our things much more. That wow, so we have actually been eating organic back home.
Gives us strength because we are seeing a lot of children coming up with gut issues. And when we reverse the gut issues, it's like we did a miracle.
Wow.
Did healing.
With food. Wow. Awesome.
Just to keep that in.
Thank you. Thank
as
you
one
so
of
much. And so somebody says, how are the parents living in remote areas with children on the spectrum receptive to autism? I don't know if do you have any reach out to our
yes.
remote areas at all? Do you
We
have any
have a
experience?
we have a raw parents forum that we work with, and
Right.
we try. We are not succeeding yet,
Mm,
but
mm,
we still have a lot of them going, taking them to prayer houses and taking
mm,
them to all these herbalists to
mm,
those things in their ears. Even those in
mm,
the cities, we are
mm,
seeing that
mm,
it's really, really very difficult,
mm,
Adeola, to
mm,
get them to receive gains of therapy.
mm.
They still think that it's a spiritual attack. It's
Wow.
still very, 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 very
Mm,
difficult.
mm. I think all we can continue to do is, and that's what I say at times, that in our own cycle of influence, you've heard this, break it down, expose it, create your own awareness, and it will continue to spread and to spread from there. If you had kept quiet 26 years ago, we probably wouldn't be where we are now, and it's just start from somebody, for us to begin to create that change. It might not happen, like you've said. I think one of the other things I'm taking away from here is that nature and nurture, you need to combine it with patience, a lot of patience, a lot of it, and to wait it out, like you
A
said here.
lot of love.
Wait it out. Loving, which we do naturally, but which can be overwhelming at times. But wow. Ah, we have spent almost 1.5 hours until we need to draw this to an end. Now, again, thank you so much, everyone. I don't know if anybody has any other burning questions. Girls, if I have any, please let me know. But again, this is the Praying Carer channel. Oakonsult, we have created this YouTube channel for parent carers dedicated to our own issues. Because I am also a parent carer. There's so many people here that I see that I don't think I have met before. My name is olufunke Adeloye, and I'm also a parent carer. I have a wonderful, beautiful little girl who is going to be 16 very soon by the grace of God, who has got complex medical needs, but she's in class of her own, so we won't go there today. But I mean, out of getting that purpose, out of holding on to God and holding on to, okay, this is a child, this is a life created in God's image. Whatever it is, let's go. But Lord, one step after the other is where Oakonsult has come out from. And that is what we're doing today, to go back to parent carers like myself, like Auntie, to say, you know what, how can we thrive? John 10:10 continues to be our mantra. The devil, the thief, has come to kill, to steal, to destroy, but I have come to give life. And so I say, I look into different translation of that verse, and I say, I cannot see any caveat that says that as a child with, as a parent of child with special needs, you will not be able to have abundant life. I did not see anything in there. So I'm holding on to God for that, to say, you said this, you did not put any caveat on it. So my own will be different. I must have life abundantly, no matter, bring it on, and that is the resilience, that is the build that we give to, our parents, carers, and we encourage and we support with information like this. If you have information, then you know how to work with it, and we break the cycle of isolation as well, so that you're not alone. See how many people are here today, and I know that some other people are also watching us, on all the other platforms. So please don't think you're the only one. We are, I mean, the statistics says we have about 1 billion people that has one form of disability or the other all over the world, out of a population of, is it 8 million or 7 billion that we are. We have 1 billion. So you're not alone. You're not alone. And I trust that the Lord will continue to give us strength. Somebody says, how do we treat gut issues? How do we treat gut issues? And see,
you need a nutritionist to do that for you, and you need an assessment to know what the issues are really. So you need to find out what issues But the best way is, first of all, you start to get the child to use probiotics. But if you reach out to me, I can share the contact of a nutritionist that can help you. What part of the
Auntie,
world
what's
are
your
you,
number?
Bola?
What's your number, Auntie, so
Bola,
that
are you in Lagos?
what's the contact number so we can put that up for?
You're in the UK. Okay, good. So I will send you.
She's in the UK.
My number is I can be reached on 0803 301 9865. I'll type it on the chat.
Okay, please do, so that
let me even see where the chat is. Okay.
Yeah, have you found it?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Wow, it's been a full on. I knew it was going to be, full on, but it's much more full on than I actually planned or hoped for. But this is wonderful, and say thank you so much. Thank you for showing us the rope. Thank you for daring to stand and say, you know what, no, this one, we are pushing this back, and see what the Lord has done. See where you are today. See all the lives that, that were coming behind you, and what you're at the forefront. Like you said, some people also were there, at the beginning, and you took the baton. You're going on. We are also doing this, and we're trusting that indeed the Lord will continue to hold on and to help us and to strengthen us, so that we will make a change. What I keep saying concerning Oakonsult is that we're changing what it means to be parent carers. We're not going to agree on this one. We will make people who are not parent carers, who at the end of this will make them jealous, because we're going to so change this terrain that, when we showcase our God, with whatever it is with our children, we see different dimensions of God being exposed in our children in this form, in its full form, however he wants to express himself. And we glorify his name together, and we trust that, he will give us the strength. Now, it is not an easy terrain, like Auntie has said, but we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us, and for some of us that may not have faith, I want to just plead with you, this is what we can only give, what we have, right? Because I know that there's some of us that would say, maybe I don't have faith, or I have a different faith, but you go into anything that you feel that strengthens you to carry on this journey. But please reach out, and let us all work together on this path. And to thank you so much. I know you're busy, but I'm part of some of the people that can crash into your program and get you out like this. So thank you so much. God bless you. We have really been blessed. So we are honored to have you on the Praying Carer channel. Yes, and somebody is asking where we'll get this video. This video will be on the Praying Carer channel. Girls, could you please type into the chat box so that they know we put all the different links in there. We're on Facebook, we're on different social media platforms. So please just check it out. But this will definitely be waiting for you to watch again, on the Praying Carer channel on YouTube. That is our channel. And please feel free to go there. We have our praying sessions every month, just to support us, just to build our community and to encourage us. And we'll continue to do that together and see the glory of God in the lives of our children. Thank you so much, Auntie. I need to let you go now before Uncle.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you
so much.
Mom. God bless you. Thank you, everyone that's been able to join us.
Thank you, Mrs Adeloye, for the great work you do at Oakonsult. Don't take it lightly. Thank you for mothering us and teaching us the way of the Lord. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. God bless you, and have a lovely weekend. Good night, everyone. God bless you. We really appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Good night, Ma. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you. Auntie Noye, thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you, Megan. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you, Mommy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Auntie Margaret, I will look for you one of these days and connect. Thank you.